Station, this is Houston on Space to Ground 2. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Station. I am ready.
Global National, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call the station for a voice check.
Station, this is Donna Friesen from... Hear me?
Donna, I have you loud and clear.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. How's it going up there?
Well, I want to say thank you for joining us up here. Welcome to the International Space Station. It's actually our 100th day on orbit, so it's a special day for myself and Oleg, our crew.
Excellent. And can you tell me where you are right now? David, what section of the space station are you in?
So I am actually in the Japanese module called Kibo. It means hope. So if you're looking at a model of space station, it's kind of at the forward end to the left. So we're going forward this way. The Earth is down that way. Can't tell, of course, up here which way is up or which way is down. But we know from the writing on the wall. And behind me is a little airlock through which we can put experiments outside in the vacuum.
So this is an Earth question, but how is the coffee up there?
Haha. The coffee up here, actually not bad at all. There's many kinds. It's actually one of the crew crew preference items. The funny thing about the coffee, though, is about where we get our water from. We recycle our water, almost all of it, upwards of 80%. So, as you like to tell, today's coffee will become tomorrow's coffee.
Not sure I like the sound of that. So tell me about what it's like after 100 days in space, in a confined space, away from family and friends, dealing with weightlessness. Does time pass quickly for you, or do you get a little bit homesick?
Certainly do get homesick. I'm not going to try to hide that. I miss my family, my friends, everything I love about life on Earth. But I know I will go back there, so I try to enjoy everything that I have here. It's a very unique experience. It takes time to get adjusted. I'm now, after upwards of almost 3 months, completely adapted, as you can imagine, both physically and mentally, to the life up here, the culture up here. It is a different culture. It's a completely international culture, a very operational culture. You got to get used to, flying. You got to learn how to fly. Initially, you bump everywhere. You got to learn how to not lose things, because things tend to fly away. You can just drop them down. And you got to learn how a station works. I mean, we do learn on the ground, but there's nothing like the reality of being up here. And we've been very busy and doing lots of amazing research. So we are blessed with a great expedition.
You're a part, I think, of a psychosocial experiment called Home in Space, looking at the mental and emotional, the social adjustments that astronauts have to make. Tell me about that.
Yes, it's a very interesting social sciences research, trying to determine what is the culture of space flying. What are the psychological aspects of it? Looking at helping us develop better environments, procedures, ways to operate for the crews who will go even further, even longer. People who will orbit the moon soon. People who then go on to explore Mars. These will be very long expeditions in deep space, without perhaps a kind of soothing view of the Earth, which is in our case very much in our face, if you want. So they're prodding into what is the space culture. It's a new place, and it takes a while to adjust to.
Do you think that that is one of the biggest challenges, is the psychosocial aspect of being in space. And you mentioned that seeing Earth for you is a soothing experience. If you couldn't see it, would it be different?
Yeah, it's a very hypothetical question, of course, but I think, like we say, the reason why we travel is so we can come back where we're at home and understand better where we're from. Part of exploration is that this ambition to understand our origins better. So being in space, yes, for me, certainly every morning when I open the cupola windows and I see our beautiful planet, I feel a sense of connection. I think crews who would be going on a very deep space mission would have a different experience. They would be probably more focused on the destination as opposed to the experience.
What has been the toughest part about being up there? Is it the disconnection from home, from Earth?
Yeah, there's a bit of that. It's been adapting to the environment physically. Your body is not used to this strange feeling. It's fun, of course, to be weightless, but it takes a while to get your sleep pattern, your appetite, your sense of orientation, both in time and in space. That takes patience, and thankfully, that's why we always overlap expeditions. So whenever new people come on board, there's more experienced people who are there to kind of guide them. We got here and we're guided by Alex Gust and Serena Onion and Sergei Prokopiev. They showed us the ropes and then they left. Soon, actually in 2 days, 3 new crew members will come. Nick Haig, Christina Hammock, and Alexei Ovchinin. And we will kind of be their guide. We will Alexei's experience, but the other 2 are rookies, so we will be their guide, showing them the ropes and helping them adapt. And once you go over the hump of feeling functional again, then we have the resources inside us. That's how humans are. We're wired to adapt and to evolve.
When you dream about the future of space travel and exploration, you, of course, are pushing the limits now. Our kids and their kids are going to push them even further. What do you imagine for space travel in the future?
If I let my imagination run wild, I think space travel will be very common, just as common as taking the plane. It will never be easy, but that's the nature of technology. We get used to doing incredible things like driving cars, if you think about it, or using a cell phone, but they're part of our life thanks to technology. Now we have welcomed the commercial entities into space flight. I think that will help drive the prices down, and that will help kind of smooth out the technological aspects. And eventually, space will do 2 things for us. It will help us take better care of Earth, and it will help us in our quest to understand the universe better. And I think these are the important aspects. And the third aspect, which we kind of get for free with this impulsion of exploration, look at all those flags behind me. Space exploration is by nature an international endeavor, and I think it really helps bring humans together with a single focus. Because from up here, it's obvious that there are no boundaries. We're just humans on a single spaceship Earth.
I know that you're very involved with science and experiments and technical things while you're there, but there must be at times a spiritual aspect to being on the space station. When you have time to reflect from a cosmic perspective, what goes through your mind?
I think the first aspect is this complete sense of awe we see when looking at the Earth in space. It is this beautiful gem. It's kind of glowing blue, gracefully spinning. You can see the cloud pattern constantly evolving, the seasons, if you stay long enough, day and night cycles, the moon orbiting slowly around. And it is so obvious that it's the only place that's alive, that supports life around. And it makes me feel so lucky, so blessed we are to have this incredible home in the cosmos that can support life. You see the thin layer of the atmosphere, and that is what keeps billions of species alive. It makes one feel kind of more responsible for Mother Earth. And also it's kind of a lesson of humility that none of this belongs to us. We belong to it.
Does it give you hope or make you feel a little sad that we're not doing a better job of caring for this precious planet?
I think it's a question of level of awareness and of perspective. And as we have evolved, we are broadening our perspective. Now we've reached a point as a species, our perspective is global, and therefore our challenges are global. And we will adapt and we will address them. I have no doubt the human spirit is really enduring, and we ultimately all want the same thing, a peaceful and healthy life on our beautiful planet.
David Saint-Jacques, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the ride.
Thank you very much, and bye-bye, everybody.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the global national portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from CNC News.
Hello, station. This is Andrew Chang. How do you hear me?
Hello, Andrew. I have you loud and clear. Hami.
I can hear you loud and clear as well. Thank you so much for taking the time. This is very exciting for me, by the way. Let me start by asking you, how have you adjusted? I mean, the routine and even just, I mean, I'm watching you right now, physically moving around. Have you adjusted?
You know, it doesn't come quickly. It in my case took several weeks, but yes, I did eventually adjust physically completely. There's also some mental adjustments, psychological adjustments, sense of disorientation initially, both in time and in space. Learning to fly has been the most important thing, I guess. Learning to move around using your feet and your hands without breaking anything and without taking anything off the walls. Initially, when you see rookies come in, we kind of very slowly move, and yet we bang things around. Now you kind of, without thinking about it, you just push yourself in the right direction and float through the modules. The other thing that's been learned, you have to learn not to lose things because everything wants to fly away from you. So we have all these tricks. And then mentally getting to get in the routine of staying in contact with people you love on the planet and remaining functional up here. All these things take time. But thankfully, we have this overlapping system where we come on board, and there's always crews that have been here for several months, and they just take us by the hand and hand us over the baton if you want. And so it'll be our turn. In 2 days, the new crew will come and join us, and we will pass the batons and give them all the tricks that we have acquired.
And I'm just watching you, and I'm shaking my head. I mean, if you look around and just reflect for a moment on the road that brought you to where you are now, from those days as a boy dreaming of being an astronaut to today.
Yeah, it's been a long road. Everybody has their road, and everybody's different. My road started like everybody as a young boy. You know, these dreams. I think we should never forget that our main resource as a country is in the heads of our children. They hold our future. And so this dream for me has always been like a vague, it's been like a star, like the North Star. The North Star, you never get there, but it can still be a guide, right? So I always thought space was an inspiration. I might never get there. It doesn't matter. At least it kind of gave me a path. It gave me a direction to follow. It gave me criteria to make decisions in life about what to do with my time on Earth. And so from one thing led to the other, I was careful to make decisions that make me happy every time. And I ended up here. I might have ended in a very, very different place. Who knows? But the important, I think, is that once you got a goal, you're not obsessed with the goal, but you keep the direction towards it. And if you have to move, then you move, and life will lead you where it will. And if every choice was a good choice that made sense at the time, then the end result is the good result.
In an interview some time ago, you mentioned a skill that you had to acquire to be an astronaut was how to think like an astronaut. But you said that when you were here on Earth. So now that you've had months in space, can you explain a bit for me? How does an astronaut think differently than anyone else?
Well, maybe not differently than anyone else, but we think we have an operational mindset, which means that what we do here, you see me here, I'm breathing, it's comfortable, good temperature, the food is decent, we can sleep, but we are one technical problem away from being very uncomfortable, potentially, or worse. And so you're constantly aware that you are living in a life support system, and you have to be very careful everything you do. So there is a sense of a kind of a, if you want, respect for all the work that goes around us, and we are supported by thousands of people and by the work of thousands of people over dozens of years to make this incredible life support system possible. The entire station is one huge life support system. So that's, I think, part of the mindset, this realization that this is an artificial place, and we got to be very careful about it. And we are kind of given the keys to the world's spacecraft, and you got to be responsible for it. You got to be very diligent.
Isn't that terrifying, though, in a way? And I'm thinking, to not too long ago, you had to undertake some janitorial work, if we could call it that, with the toilet leaking, and you have, 10 liters of water leaking out, which on Earth is just a bad day, but as you say, on the International Space Station, potentially dangerous. I mean, do you think often about that, just the fragility, the delicate nature of your mission?
It's interesting how the human mind works. I think that notion that you're one problem away from being very uncomfortable, it kind of changed your mindset, but naturally you want to be at peace. Everybody wants to be peaceful. So we kind of change our set point. So I don't, it's not like I live in constant fear. I'm just very aware of my environment, I guess I would say. That's what it does. It makes you very, very aware, acutely aware of everything. And as we get to know space station better and better, I mean, it's full of cables and machines. We kind of more and more efficiently notice whenever something is out of normal configuration. And that's the best you can do.
You also recently oversaw the successful docking of the SpaceX Dragon capsule to the ISS. A very real example of what future manned missions to the ISS could look like. And you were the first to go inside. As you did that, what were you thinking?
Well, this might maybe a disappointing answer. I was thinking about my procedures because I was doing some things that had never been done before. These procedures, the first time they were executed, for me, certainly the first time for me. So I had my operational hat on, if you want, making sure I was doing things the right way. But when I opened the hatch, the first thought that came to my mind was like, oh, wow, this looks different. You know what? I thought, oh, this looks like a business class section of an airplane.
But I mean, between the Dragon capsule, and I'm also thinking about the recent announcement about the Lunar Gateway project, building a space station to orbit the moon. I mean, what excites you the most about what the future holds?
It's a good question. I mean, I'm very excited about all these prospects of us continuing our inner desire to explore, expand our horizons, and understand the world around us. I mean, that's literally what got us out of the caves, through the plains, up the mountains, and then over the valley, on the oceans, in the air. And so there's that aspect. We have to continue to explore because that's in our nature, and that's how we progress. I think it will never be the priority of humanity, of course. Priorities will always remain health, education, employment, security, peace, all that. But we have to keep a small fraction of our energy for blue sky dreaming, for the arts, for science, and for exploration, because that is how we grow. That is how we develop our civilization. And now space is the next frontier of that kind of tendency that it's part of our DNA, is who we are. So what excites me most is not the fact that we are going deeper into space, is looking at my kids, knowing the fact that, yeah, Canada is continuing. Canada is staying at the forefront of innovation, exploration. That's the kind of country that I'm proud to give to my kids. There's some dream for them to continue. Because, you know, these decisions on space projects, they're always for the next generation. It's decades away.
That being said, do you miss home, David?
Excuse me, say again?
I was just asking to close, do you miss home?
Oh, every day, every day. But you know, it's interesting. I was worried that I was going to miss nature, and because we're living in this technical environment, but every day looking at the Earth from the cupola, poof, it's this, I mean, it's nature at its best. It beats the view you have from any mountaintop if you want. So you are like in awe of natural beauty whenever you look outside the window to our planet. So that aspect is okay. But of course, I miss the ones I love. I miss my wife, my children, my parents, my brothers, my friends. I miss everybody in Houston who have made it possible to bring me here, people who have trained us, people who are constantly working diligently in mission control. I miss the community of humans, and I miss... but the connection is still there. We don't feel lonely. I just wish I could hug my kids from time to time. You know, things like that. But we're not here forever. We'll be back. And we'll be back with lots of stories to tell, and it is a great adventure.
Well, David, what a wonderful opportunity it was to speak with you. Thank you so much, and all the best. Thanks very much, sir.
Thank you, Andrew. Bye, everybody.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you to all the participants from Global National and CBC News. We'll be resuming operational space-to-ground voice now.